And again, we've had that conversation, but I'm glad we can come down to it because this next topic that we're going to talk about kind of ties into that, right? And it's Paul Pogba to DC, right? And we, we'll tie it in here. But if Paul Pogba came to DC and did nothing, it doesn't bring more eyes, more positive eyes to the league. It brings negative eyes to the league. Whereas if Paul Pogba came to DC and helped them win MLS Cup and Supporter Shield, and then go on and win Club World Cup and CONCACAF Champions Cup and all these other cups, then it's seen as a good move, I think. But let's not go down that road because right now we're talking about the idea that Paul Pogba might be DC's big DP signing. Now it's really early in the process, but DC owns its discovery rights and they've opened preliminary talks. Now recent reports as of 24 hours ago suggest that he is leaning towards staying in Europe or Saudi Arabia to try and get back into the French national team because he wants to still play for there and Didier Deschamps has not closed that out. But let's pretend for a minute that they can make this work. The question is not if they can, should they? Does it make sense? Your thoughts?
Absolutely not. For a DP signing,
There you
I'm
go.
sorry.
Get
That's
on one side of the fence. Heck
yeah,
yeah.
I'll get on one side of the fence for this one. As a DP signing, that this is horrible. I would hate this. I mean, I think you're talking about a guy that hasn't really played consistently, and consistently in this case being like 1,400 league minutes since 2021, 2022. That's like 3 years removed at this point. Like he went to Juve and he barely touched the field. 111 league minutes in 22-23 and then 54 for the league the year after that. Like you're going to bring in a designated player who's wrong side of 30 and hasn't played consistently in 3 years. That's your big DP signing? That's insane. Maybe you could take a chance on him on a TAM deal, but as a DP, that's outrageous and I think that's really dumb.
Look at us. See, we went from fighting and now we're best friends agreeing on this because I hate this. I think Pogba is a good player, but he's been out of action for over a year. He lives on the mindset that he is just the greatest thing since sliced bread, and he would be joining a, to put it nicely, less than successful DC United team that would have minimal stars and minimal marketability around him. I think that he would show up here and be so unhappy that he would just start throwing fit after fit. He'd walk around the field. He would be Shaqiri 2.0. I think that he fits into the same boat as Neymar for me, where it's somebody who was clearly coming in here only to raise his marketability and to raise his profile to make more money, and he would not give his effort. He would not be the idea of what we want designated players to be in MLS 3.0, 4.0, right? I am not. I don't want this in the slightest, and I'm out. Right? In words of our friends on Shark Tank, I'm out.
Well, you know what? To tack onto that too is I don't even think he has marketability anymore. I mean, at one point when he
Okay.
was with Man United, like his marketability was huge. Like he was one of the most well-known players in the world, a random team in Turkey or something, and maybe that's where I like missed it. But I mean, I don't think there's even any marketability for MLS to benefit off of here. Like maybe you're right in that he tries to come here to gain some of that marketability back, but I don't think MLS should be taking a firstly a designated player flyer, but maybe not even a flyer at all to try to build his marketability back up. I think he should take his shot somewhere else, maybe in Europe, like he wants.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like I said, I'm seeing different things. I'm seeing beIN Sports saying that DC United are the front runner. I'm seeing ESPN saying Pogba wants Europe, and maybe Pogba does want Europe, and maybe Europe doesn't want Pogba, right? At the end of the day, I think that this would be like if DC United pivoted from Kevin De Bruyne, missing out on Kevin De Bruyne, and went to Paul Pogba, I wouldn't be thrilled with it. Now, again, yeah, I've been wrong once before in my life, so it's always time for maybe a second. But I just don't see him being. Again, I don't know how I feel about players who have such a high. I don't even want to say self-esteem, like, but people who have like players who have gone through the spotlight and have always been the focus of the camera and like all of that stuff, then coming to America because I've yet to see one of those types of players work out properly. So it just I feel not so good about it. I'd love to be proven wrong, by the way. Like I'd love for him to come here and I wouldn't love it, but if he revitalized DC United, great, whatever. But I don't know. He hasn't played a competitive game since September 2023. By the time he gets into DC, it's going to be almost 2 years without playing proper. And like that, and that's the problem. I think he's going to come in and be. oh, it's just MLS. I don't need to train here. And then he'll take a couple games, he'll play, and then he'll look for that move after that. Now again, that's he's going to be 33 by that point. I don't know, in a year if he's playing in the World Cup at 34 for France.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I mean, I think DC would do much better to look somewhere else for that last DP spot if they can't get Kevin De Bruyne. I don't think Paul Pogba is your answer.
Get somebody who can like play for you, not somebody who's going to sell you tickets. You need to win games. It doesn't matter how many tickets you sell. If you're not winning games, nobody's showing up, right? Also, stop paying for other teams' DPs. Like that. That feels like roster building 101. But what do I know? It feels like,
Clearly, you know nothing.
dude. I don't even know if you could do that in Football Manager. I feel like Football Manager wouldn't even let you do that. Like this is some
Probably
next level
not.
stuff.
No.